A sick bird often does not look sick. In the wild, showing weakness can be deadly, so many birds keep eating, preening, perching, and even singing long after something has started going wrong. That is why behavior can fool you. Feathers usually do not. If you know what to look for, your bird's plumage can warn you early. By the end of this video, you'll know why this works and how to apply it with what you already have. A feather is more than decoration. It is a record of your bird's health from the day that feather grew. If the body did not have the right nutrition, the feather can grow dull, weak, or uneven. If disease disrupted growth, the change can stay written into that feather until the next molt. If the new feathers coming in are twisted, faded, broken, or missing, your bird may be showing you a problem before its behavior changes at all. This matters because early detection changes outcomes. The research behind avian care is clear on one point. Owners should regularly check for feather loss, color changes, and unusual growth patterns, because these can point to health issues ranging from nutritional deficiency to infection. As Dr. Zoe S. Ives put it, "The health of our birds is directly related to the vigilance of their caretakers. Your bird may hide illness. Its feathers do not have that choice." The first condition is the most common and the one people ignore most often. Nutritional deficiency, especially in birds eating an all-seed diet, can show up first as dull color, faded feathering, brittle texture, frayed edges, and molts that seem to drag on without ever fully finishing. Owners often describe this bird as scruffy, dusty-looking, or just not as bright as it used to be. This is easy to miss because it does not always look dramatic. A parrot, cockatiel, budgie, canary, or finch can still be active and social while the plumage slowly loses quality. The change can happen feather by feather, not all at once. The research notes that poor diet can lead to feather growth problems and abnormal molting. When that poor diet keeps going, the body has less of what it needs to build normal feathers. Vitamin A is one of the big concerns in this picture, especially when a bird lives on a narrow diet. You may notice that the feathers look dry instead of smooth, worn instead of clean-edged, and faded instead of rich in color. A molt that never seems to end can be your clue that the body is struggling to produce healthy replacement feathers. The good news is that this is often reversible if caught early. It is worth an avian vet visit because the answer is not to guess or throw random supplements at your bird. A vet can help identify whether the feather changes fit a diet problem or whether they point somewhere more serious. The second condition is stress and feather-destructive behavior. The feather warning sign here is not just missing feathers. It is the pattern. Plucked or chewed feathers, symmetrical bald areas on the chest and legs, and exposed skin in places your bird can reach are classic red flags. The head often stays feathered because your bird cannot easily pluck there. This is often treated like a behavior problem alone, but that can be a mistake. Feather-destructive behavior can be a welfare cry, and it can also be a sign of deeper illness. The research notes that feather changes can reflect health issues ranging from deficiency to infection, and stress in feathering should not be brushed aside. Parasites, boredom, or illness can all drive a bird to overpreen, chew, or pull out its own feathers. Why is this easy to miss? Because owners often focus on the act of plucking and not the cause behind it. If your bird is still climbing, vocalizing, or asking for attention, it is tempting to think the problem is only emotional. Sometimes that is part of it. But feather damage in reachable areas is your sign to stop and ask why this bird feels driven to damage its own plumage. The first two causes in this video are often reversible, which is exactly why speed matters. The sooner an avian veterinarian checks for medical triggers and helps you address stressors, the better the chance of recovery. The third condition is where this video turns. Psittacine beak and feather disease, or PBFD, is a viral disease, and its feather changes can be very specific. New feathers may grow in twisted, clubbed, or deformed. Some feathers stop growing properly. Over time, birds can lose feathers that do not grow back. This can start subtly. One abnormal feather does not always trigger alarm. A slightly odd pin feather can be dismissed. A patchy molt can be written off as seasonal, but with PBFD, the pattern can keep returning and getting worse. The warning is not just feather loss. It is unhealthy feather production. The body is no longer making normal feathers. The research gives this disease extra weight. A study published in BMC Veterinary Research in 2015 reported that up to 70% of Psittacine birds in certain populations may carry the PBFD virus. That does not mean every bird with rough feathers has PBFD. It does mean this virus is well known, real, and not rare enough to ignore in parrots and related birds. The disease was first identified in Australia in 1994, and it remains one of the best-known viral feather diseases in avian medicine. A common belief is that feather damage is usually from stress or overpreening. PBFD challenges that belief. Sometimes the feather is not being damaged from the outside at all. It is being built wrong from the inside. This condition is widely recognized as viral, incurable, and eventually fatal. That is why any bird with repeated deformed feather growth, progressive feather loss, or feathers that fail to regrow needs prompt evaluation by an avian veterinarian. You are not looking for a home fix. You are looking for answers, testing, and safe management. The fourth condition is liver disease, and the feather sign can be quiet enough to miss unless you know your bird's normal colors well. Feathers that should come in green or dark may grow in yellowed, reddened, or with dark stress bars. Those bars are streaks or lines that show the feather did not form normally during growth. This is one of the clearest examples of feathers acting like a body report. The liver affects the whole system. When something is wrong there, the feather can carry the message long before your bird acts obviously ill. The research notes that changes in feather appearance, including discoloration and unusual growth patterns, can indicate health issues. Liver disease fits that pattern because the color shift is not just cosmetic. It can be a sign that the body is under strain. Owners miss this because many birds have natural variation in color, and lighting can change what you think you see. A yellowish tinge on a green bird or red wash, where it should not be, can be easy to explain away. Stress bars can look like simple wear until you realize they came in that way. If you are seeing abnormal color on new feathers, especially repeated across a molt, that is worth an avian vet visit. Your bird is not choosing a new shade. Its body may be signaling trouble. The fifth condition is the most urgent in this lineup. Polyomavirus and systemic infection can show up in the feathers as an abnormal molt, blood feathers that do not stop bleeding, and hemorrhaging inside growing feathers. These are developing feathers that should be growing in normally, but instead they become fragile, damaged, or visibly blood-filled in a way that signals something is very wrong. This is serious in any bird and often fatal, especially in young birds. The reason it hits so hard emotionally is that the outside sign can still look small at first. A growing feather seems off. A bleed seems minor. A molt feels irregular. But the feather is telling you this is not a surface problem. It may reflect a body-wide illness. The research warns that disease can spread quickly in flocks, and Dr. Tanya D. Liu said, disease can spread quickly in flocks, and feather changes are often the first signs of trouble. That point matters here. When the problem involves infection, time matters not only for the affected bird, but also for other birds nearby. The research also notes that some feather diseases are zoonotic under certain conditions, which is another reason careful handling and veterinary guidance matter. There is also a wider disease context around birds right now. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, as of January 2023, more than 58 million birds were affected by H5N1 avian influenza in the United States, in the largest outbreak since 2014. The CDC confirmed spread of a new strain of highly pathogenic avian influenza in the United States in 2022, and monitoring continued through 2024. Avian influenza is not one of the 5 feather-first diseases in this video, but it does support the mainstream consensus that bird owners need to stay alert to early signs of disease and seek veterinary care fast when something changes. There is also debate about how best to manage avian viruses at the population level. Some avian veterinarians support widespread vaccination strategies. Others place more weight on biosecurity and natural population resistance. For a pet owner, that debate changes very little at home. You still need the same response. Watch the feathers closely. Isolate sick birds as directed by a professional. See an avian veterinarian instead of trying to solve a virus yourself. The tragedy is not only that a bird was sick, It is that the bird kept acting normal while the evidence sat right in front of you every day. It kept preening. It kept perching. It may have kept singing. All the while, the feathers were telling the truth for weeks. That should not make you panic. It should give you power. You now know that dull, brittle, never-finished molts can point to nutritional deficiency. Plucked and chewed feathers in reachable areas can signal stress, poor welfare, parasites, or illness. Twisted, clubbed, or missing regrowth can raise concern for PBFD. Yellowing, reddening, or stress bars can be a sign of liver disease. Abnormal molt, bleeding blood feathers, and hemorrhage in growing feathers can warn of polyomavirus or systemic infection. The first two are often reversible when caught early. The last three are serious and need fast veterinary attention. None of these signs confirm a diagnosis on their own. They are warning lights. Your job is not to treat your bird at home or guess what disease it has. Your job is to notice what the feathers are saying and bring that information to an avian veterinarian. So look closely at your bird today, not just at its face or its energy. Look at the color. Look at the edges. Look at the new growth. Look at what is missing, what is bent, what is frayed, and what keeps coming back wrong. Your bird will never tell you it is sick, but its feathers already are.